So not too long ago, a trailer for Indigo Park Chapter 2 recently dropped, and honestly, I'm really surprised by how good it looks. The environments are honestly very beautifully rendered, and Finley looks way better than he did back in Chapter 1. So there's definitely been a major glow up in the visuals and overall presentation of the Indigo Park series, which all seem very promising. Now, if you've followed my channel, you'll know that I've made videos about Indigo Park sometime last year where I was somewhat critical of how the Indigo Park team was handling certain things. Well, not so critical, but more so just raising awareness, especially considering the fact that they've raised about almost over $250,000 from crowdfunding.
Hey, where'd you get that? You need that plant for him?
Alongside garnering who knows how much money they raised or received from merch drops as well, which is a serious budget for a small indie horror game by a YouTuber and their team, and I was just wondering really how they managed to deal with all that funding and how will it be used, because originally when they were kickstarting the whole game, they initially sought about $50,000, and well, as I mentioned, they raised well over that amount. Of course, I'm not accusing them of anything shady, but I was just being curious and a bit cautious on the matter. And judging by the new trailer, it seems like they're putting the money to good use, seeing how much the quality has gone up, but at the end of the day, the real question is how it's going to look and play once the game actually releases, because we all know that just because a game has a good looking trailer does not mean it'll translate into the game being good itself. If we were to look back at Chapter 1, I'll admit it had a lot of issues to it, and to be fair, it was basically a pre-funded demo that was, well, essentially free, but it had a lot of bugs, and it was more so just a proof of concept more than anything else. There wasn't really a whole storyline to follow, and it really just felt a little bland. Even after patches, there were still several problems that emerged, and gameplay-wise, it was, well, I'll be honest, it was just a pretty standard mascot horror game where you just explore an abandoned location with little to no knowledge as to why you're even there, and you solve puzzles, have a brief monster encounter where they chase you or scare you, etc. It was just stuff we've all seen before in titles like Poppy Playtime or Bendy and the Ink Machine. It was interesting, sure, the whole Rambly being AI thing was, I guess, something, but it didn't really break any new grounds. For example, the lion encounter, or God, I forgot his name. I didn't even write his name in the script. Okay, the lion encounter was awkwardly staged and presented, where you only had a brief encounter with him in the theater, with one instance where he only just jumps out at you, gets crushed by a box, and then crawls away to never be seen again. You had the Mollie Ahoy section where you essentially just had her watching you and stalking you for a bit throughout the game. Then at the very end, she proceeds to chase you down a hallway or various different rooms before coming to the end where she tries to, I guess, jump at you or something, but she ends up getting beheaded by the door. So,
it's in the streets. God damn!
Yeah, that was certainly something, but it all just felt very, mascot horror tropey in a sense. Like the monsters were just there to fill in the blanks rather than there to be, a true threat or something integral to the story. Now, of course, that doesn't mean Chapter 2 will repeat the same issues, but I do hope they've taken the feedback and criticism they received on Chapter 1 and built something off of it with Chapter 2. Also, quick little side tangent, I feel like we've seen a lot of games lately that had really promising trailers but didn't live up exactly to the hype once they released. Like for example, you saw what happened with Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. It looked amazing and was filled with a lot of lore, but upon release day, it was riddled with so many bugs and so many game-breaking glitches that it was practically unplayable for some people.
So my... Game of the year. Game of the year. Where am I going? Where am I going? What is happening?
Along with, more recently, the Still Wakes to Deep DLC, which was Siren's Rest. Now, this one was something that I was really excited for, but when it released, it was incredibly disappointing because it had a lack of gameplay, lack of story, and it just wasn't worth the price it was listed as. Again, not saying that this is going to happen to Indigo Park Chapter 2, but I just thought I'd point it out there. Also, yes, I am aware of the whole, what was it? Mollie Ahoy cartoon that was released about a month ago. I will say, it definitely looked really cool and interesting, and that they're, that they're doing this VHS ARG style type of stuff, similar to what Poppy Playtime did. And I also like the comparisons people made, or at least the similarities you saw between, Jake and the Neverland Pirates and the Disney Channel. I mean, come on, like, you can see the similarities here, am I right?
Flirt with them.
Shh, wait, it's starting.
Pirate crew. Just stay away from that nasty coyote. You're watching the world premiere of Mollie Ahoy, only on the Indigo channel.
Oh yeah, this dude's canceled.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. And it does seem like it's following this like trope where, imagine like this universe is Disneyland, but it's been abandoned or forgotten or something. And it was like super popular at the time, which obviously you can tell because they clearly had a TV show, so it was a very popular place, but something happened to where it got abandoned and forgotten by almost everyone, or at least it just got shut down for whatever reason. And a character that we play as tries to come by and figure out why exactly it closed or what happened, and we slowly reveal what happened as we play through the game, through the chapters and whatnot. So I feel like this has been done before in a sense. But I don't mean to say this to like downplay what Indigo Park's story might be, but again, like we've seen this before. And of course I know that Indigo Park and its team is gonna probably have its own twist on it and its own take, but it's definitely seeming like it's just gonna be another one of those find out what happened type of games, right? At least from right now. So who knows, maybe it'll change up and it'll be something completely different, or there'll be like a twist that happens, but for right now that's kind of all you're getting about this game so far.
It's McCall, the real McCoy, it's Watch My Play. So come on, grab a sword, adventures waiting in the way. Ahoy! Mollie Ahoy.
My hope for Chapter 2 is that it not only looks better than Chapter 1, which already you can tell it does, but it also plays significantly better too. And I want to see how they will expand beyond just the average walking around and solving puzzles aspect and the whole like chase encounter or brief run-ins with like the monsters of the game. I want to see how they will expand more on the story and help it evolve from what we were presented in Chapter 1, and how well that budget that they received is going to be distributed across development, not just for this chapter, but for future ones as well following it. It's always worth to keep expectations in check, and of course, I am optimistic for Indigo Park Chapter 2. I have better expectations for this compared to other crowdfunded games that didn't even have a demo before asking for money. But at the same time, I feel like we shouldn't set the bar unrealistically high for this type of stuff. If expectations get too high, then there's always going to be the risk of disappointment when it doesn't match the hype surrounding it. I am definitely looking forward to it though, and I honestly can't wait to see how much they've improved this one, so yeah, we'll just have to wait and see until it releases later this year and hope for the best, right? Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.